Hey y'all, what's up? Listen, okay? Listen. We about to go ahead and get into this love and marriage Huntsville. Okay. When I tell y'all, and I'm gonna say it every episode because this is how I feel, I do not like Trish. I'm not a fan of Marquez, and I damn sure am not a fan of Ken. I thought that I liked Ken, but I actually don't. Okay. I don't care for their entire storyline. I don't really care for them. I don't know. Like, I think it's good that Ken shows up for the children and they have a father figure in their life, but then it's also something about it. It's I don't know. Now, granted, I do fault Marquez for this because had you been more present, it wouldn't have been any room for Ken to come in and anyone feels like he's overstepping his boundaries. Okay, and that is what I think they're trying to get Marquez to see is that you dropped the ball somewhere. But this is why I have to call Ken and Trish out because I feel like they're ultimately full of shit, and that is because y'all like to reference the past until you bitches is called out, and then you want to move forward. You want to avoid, like, we're going to get into it. So, first of all, Ken T and Kimmy and Maurice all go out to dinner. So, Kimmy and Maurice, they're letting us know that they're renovating their home, and currently they are in an Airbnb right now. Now, Ken talks about Marquez and how he tried to make sure that they were in a good place. Now, I have to give Ken kudos for that. Shout out to you for wanting to let Kez know that, okay, we in a good place. Like, you don't have to always come off a certain way with me. Like, we good. I'm trying to work on things getting better with you and your kids, right? So then Ken says, the problem is they'll always have good moments and then he'll pull a stunt like he did the other day at the house. Oh, well, what did he do? And then he'll go T. She explains that Marquez busted through the door. First of all, he did not bust through your fucking door. That's number one. Okay. He came in all honesty, I feel like, in my opinion, Marquez entered their door like it's something he's used to doing. It's something that he's used to doing. That is how I saw that. Now, I have to say, at some point in the episode, he does highlight that his daughter was going into the door and he was going in behind her to assist her with everything that she had in her hands. He wasn't going to let her carry all that stuff into the house on her own. Now, granted, he could have called the son down and said, hey, come help your sister. It could have been something like that. But also knowing that the cameras were there, Ken's goal was to come into the house anyway. All right. Now, Marquez came in. I'm sorry, not Ken's goal was to come into the house, but Marquez's goal was for him to come into the house. Marquez came in when Ken was not there, he says. Then says he came, according to T, he came in, immediately got hostile with her friend. See, this is my fucking issue with T. T does not always recall events accurately, in my opinion. And I also feel like she likes to leave out details in an effort to make that man look more crazy. Now, granted, I do not believe that Kez is a completely sane man. I do believe that Kez is problematic. But what I'm not here for is painting Kez out to be the only problematic person in this entire equation when all of y'all play a role in my personal. Okay? You like to leave out details. You know, motherfucking well, that man walked in on y'all talking shit. What we do, we probably gonna talk and say a little something to our homegirl. It is what it is. Your friend overstepped her damn boundaries in your home by introducing herself to your baby daddy. Now, granted, that's your house. If you didn't want to introduce him to nobody in your fucking house, you didn't have to. And I feel like that was your right to do that, not hers. So if you wanted her to sit there and whoever I got in my house ain't none of your business, then that's fine. But for her to be like, since you're here, I'm such and such. How do you know I want you to introduce yourself to my baby daddy, bitch? How do you know I want him to know anybody affiliated with me? Are you fucking okay? So I don't like that. Her friend was rude and I don't really care. So Kimmy says, what was the initiate cause for this? For him to just walk in and just be hostile? Because then Kimmy says she's thinking, don't nobody just walk in the room and be hostile. Something had to have happened. I'm glad Kimmy asked that because something definitely happened in an effort to get him to react the way that he did. Right? So then T says, I don't know. And that's the shit that I'm talking about. You know. You just need everybody else to believe that he is the bad guy. Girl, you do not have to do anything extra for us to believe he the bad guy. We gonna do that anyway because Ken sets it up for us to believe that. Okay, Ken got his own stuff that we gonna drag him about here. We don't need your extra stuff in it. And you gonna have your own reasons that you get dragged, and we don't need him to add his 2 cents to it either. Because I don't care for neither one of y'all, especially you, bitch. And why Carlos brought these whack-ass people on this show with this whack-ass storyline is beyond me. And the only thing that makes sense to me is that they were willing to exploit their family and their situation for a few $100s. That is the only thing that makes sense to me. You brought your ass on this show for a few fucking $100 while he makes all this money off of y'all stupid asses. Like, I can't. Anywho, so then, Ken says that Marquez asked Ken, how does he get along with Trisha so well? right? And he says, I said, because he paying out on fucking bills. And if you ask me, Ken definitely loves her more than she loves him. Child, they say that's the best way to get a relationship. Get a man that love you more than you love him. Hello? And that's exactly what Trisha has got. Okay? That's exactly what's going on. And Ken says, well, I told him you got to compromise. You got to learn how to talk. And it's all about the communication. Now, I will say this. I agree with that. Everything is always about communication. However, I feel like I've noticed something that even when Marquez may be trying to be like, all right, cool, Trish knows how to push the buttons to get a reaction as well. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's gonna take compromise on both sides and not just one side. When you're trying to co-parent, I don't care what nobody's talking about. When you're trying to co-parent, both of y'all have to pull something up within both of y'all to where you have to pick your battles on what's necessary and what's not necessary. Okay? Because it's bigger than both of y'all. But their problem is the fact that they are still married. And I do feel like there is still some love there and there is a bit of still resentment there. Okay? So that's that. Now, Trish cuts in as Ken is talking about the communication, and she says, and Marquez, he came in and he was yelling and he was bringing, the daughter to the house, and then says that you didn't even know to bring her to the house or where she was until you talked to Xavier. This is the shit I don't fucking like. If you want the man to be a dad, let him be a damn dad. If he didn't know and he didn't bother you but asked his son, hey, where your sister at? How can I pick her up? Whatever. And he wanted to step in and be a dad. If anything, bitches should be feeling like, okay, good. Good. Go get your daughter. Go get her. Good. So you ain't got to go nowhere. Let him run his gas out. He supposed to be doing that anyway. So why is it like when you talk about how he don't do shit, and then when he do some, you want to sit up there and be on his ass about that and then bring up the past and be like, well, you didn't do that. Well, he trying to do the shit now. And I just feel like give him the room to do it. And if you give him the room to do it and he don't do it, get on his ass. But if you're giving him the room to do it and he trying to do it, then bitch, you get on my nerves. That's why Maurice asked. So he hasn't been stepping in, and he's starting to step in, right? And she said, yeah. And I told him that was good. Yeah, now you're saying that's good, but we didn't hear you say that was good. We didn't hear you tell him that. But now that you see that Maurice is looking at the situation how I'm looking at it, and Maurice is over here like, so he wasn't stepping in, and now he's stepping in, and Maurice really wanted to say, y'all still got a problem. She said, and I told him that was good. Yeah, because you see how stupid your ass sound. So then, and girl, these people ain't gonna run my pressure up. I don't even know these folks like this, so they be toning it down. Okay? Girl, let me tone it down, because girl, this shit, it ain't gonna make or break my day either way. This they situation, ain't it? Okay, hello, because I don't raise mine, at least one, hello, and raising the other. So here we are. Okay. So Maurice asked, he ain't been stepping in. We got into that. So Kimmy says the thing to getting along is getting along. And Kimmy's completely right. Like, and that's what I mean. When you're co-parenting, at some point, you guys are both going to have to pull it in and just recognize what's important and what's not, and just move forward. Like, some stuff you guys are going to have to be okay with not getting potentially the apology for. You're going to have to be okay with this situation not working out how you may have wanted. Like, at some point, you have to get exhausted with living in the past in an effort to make a better future. And that's just all that I'm saying. Okay. So Ken cuts her off. He says, I don't mean to cut you off. He says, but we're here every day and the teachers know me. Okay. You're there every day and the teachers know you. Okay. Congratulations. I said, but if y'all want him to show up, you're going to have to give him the space to do that. Yes, the teachers know you. Now it's time for the teachers to know him. He talking about he's there now. If he's there for all of these months of filming and he doesn't step up, yes, get on his ass. But you can't. I mean, I'm just saying it if it was me, right? If I messed up at some point and I'm like, yo, I'm here now, like, let me fix it. Give me the space. Like, don't be on my ass about this. Like, I mean, nobody likes to be micromanaged with work, and I understand it's different. And some people like, but these are kids, Jami, and I get that. And these are young adults, right? So with that being said, I'm talking about young adults as in the children that are now not really children, but they growing into young adults. And it's like, give him that space to work on that relationship with his kids. Hey, we need you to get such and such at this time. You think you can do that? Like that's what the conversations should be about. We living in the past. I think conversation should be about compromise, communication, and moving forward. Okay, this is what we're gonna need to do. And Ken tried to tell them that at the end, like, let's figure out what we need to do to move forward. Basically, like, hey, these are the days we need you to show up for the kids. We need you to get them here. Da, 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 da. Here's the schedule. Here's the calendars. Give the people the tools as far as the information, and then see what they do with it. If he don't do nothing, then get on his ass. But it's not fully making sense right now. And Ken keeps wanting a cookie, and I need y'all to give him a dozen. Give him a dozen hot insomnia cookies. Okay. So then Maurice says that he will always be the kid's father. Who do we he says, how do we move forward? Because it's something that makes him act the way he is. Okay. Yeah, it's something that, I mean, basically what I feel is that Maurice is noticing that y'all say y'all want progression, but obviously y'all are doing something. More so Trish, because she knows him the best. She's likely doing something to get a reaction out of him. Now, I don't think that Trish may always do something to get ignorant or disrespectful reactions out of him, but I do believe that she know what buttons to push. She know what to do. Okay. So Ken says that he doesn't think he is doing anything wrong because he is always trying to fix the problem and always lets Marquez say whatever, anything he wants. That's a lie. You definitely don't let him say whatever and all of that. Like, you don't. And then he says, everybody wants me to respect him for being the dad, but when is he going to respect the boundary that this is my family? I don't know. Maybe when he's divorced from Trish and you're actually married to her. And I can't say that man will ever really respect you. He should give you some. I don't think he'll respect you as in that's your family, right? But I think he may respect your role for showing up for his kids when he didn't, right? And knowing that his kids are getting, like, one of them is an adult, one of them is getting close to being an adult. After a while, he ain't gonna have nothing to do with y'all, for real, for real. So I don't know, but I do understand where Ken is coming from, because I do feel like Ken is doing a lot for children that he does not have to do anything for, right? Especially not being married to her. These are things that Ken wants to do because Ken wants to be a dad and has yet to have children of his own. He still takes care of his ex's child. Like, he just has that fatherly figure within him, and I completely understand that. Okay, completely get that. Martell and Destiny, they're talking. Destiny is about to work on a storefront or something like that. Destiny, baby, just do e-commerce. You don't need a storefront at all. But that's just my personal. If anything, you should get your products in somebody's store. But I wouldn't want to manage that overhead. I would just just keep your storefront. Okay, maybe do an Etsy shop or something. Like, you ain't got to do all of that. It don't have to be that deep. Okay, you ain't got to prove nothing to us, honey. It's too many companies that's been closing down. Big companies been around for years, closing down, and you can access their stuff online if you don't have a store near you. Like, it's not that deep. Martell is moving Ariane and the kids into his home, and originally I was thinking that it was in with him, and then he says no, it's going to be into my investment home. Right now, y'all know he said if Ariane plays her cards right, she's going to get that ring. Right, so when Destiny asked him if they're living together, he's like, no, I'm moving her into my investment property. You know, we're not going to do that until we're married. And that's my issue. Sir, you've wasted a decade of this girl's life, and she has also wasted a decade of her life with you. Okay. A man that could not give her all of him because he was married with children. Okay. Now that he's no longer married, but still with children, you would think the woman that you've wasted your marriage on for oh so many years, a decade at this point, you will go ahead and you would marry her right out of the gate. Right. A lot of times we may watch movies, we may hear stories where a couple has been together for a long time. This man left his wife to go and marry his mistress. At that point, that man already knows whether he wants to marry her or not. Unfortunately for Ariane, she is not wise and smart enough to know that you are still one of those in-between type of girls, in my opinion. One of those in-between women. I don't care how much of wifey material he may say that you are. I don't care how great of a mom he may say that you are. You may not be wifey material for him, but you are standing in the place of is what is given to me. And I won't believe it until you're actually married. Now I believe you guys are in a couple, right? You posted him. That's my man. We already kind of knew that, but okay, it's being confirmed. He's allowing you to claim him. But for you to stand by a man's side, in my personal, I'm not standing by no nigga side on the side. First of all, I would never stay on the side of a nigga that got another bitch, okay? All right? Period. But aside from that, especially a wife, but aside from that, I would not stand on the side and be on the sideline as long as I was and think that when you're finally about to start claiming me, it does not come with paperwork attached. It does not come with me automatically marrying you. You put me through too much shit, called me out my name or peasant, whatever this was, and I done forgave you for all of the whole shit that you pushed off on me, all of the attacks that I got, and you think that you're not gonna put a ring on my fucking finger and I'm gonna turn around and only be your girlfriend? You have me thoroughly fucked up. Okay. So I shame on you for not expecting and requiring more, which lets me know that your standards are still low and you're okay with settling just for a nursing degree. And I honestly hate that for Arion, considering the fact that this man can even put himself through builder school or getting his builder's license, but he's focusing on putting your ass through nursing school. If he couldn't accomplish that, I don't even see you accomplishing your goal. You could have accomplished that. You could have had 2 degrees with the amount of time that this show has been on and Martell has been fronting the bill. But instead, you've been getting your degrees off Instagram, running down to the people giving us fucking lectures about your life. We done got more educated and then got degrees in love and marriage Huntsville from watching y'all stupid asses online. Right? So I'm just a little confused. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I feel bad for your daughter just a little bit. Granted, we often say we feel bad for the kids as if the kids won't get older and get their own mindsets and learn from the mistakes of their parents, right? Not all children do. Some of them are going to take on behaviors of the parents, but then some kids are going to make notes of the behaviors of the parents and they're going to evolve beyond that in an effort to do better for their children. Okay? So I hate that that is a bit of the example that you can sit up there and show your child that you can let a nigga play on you. And then after he plays on you for oh so long, then when it's time for him to show up, he's only going to show up in the boyfriend capacity that he's had your ass in for a decade. That's crazy. But I'm not going to put too much on that little girl because kids are very smart. And her daughter is likely a teenager at this point, so she may be learning a lot of shit. I know I was wise beyond my years when I was younger, okay? And I definitely had a little mouth on me, and my mama had to lie, okay, because I will let you know about your damn self, and I still kind of will. If I have to dig in that bag just a little bit and get your ass together, okay? Because I was a smart kid. I was very intelligent. I knew what the hell was going on, and there are a lot of kids that are aware of the situations around them. And if it doesn't make sense as an adult, a child gonna tell you when you looking stupid as hell. That don't make sense. Mommy, I'm hearing, and now they got social media. Mommy, I'm hearing all this and that about you and Maverick's dad. And why would you take him back after doing this and that? Like, she probably gonna have to answer them questions to her damn child. And her daughter seeing the backlash her mama got, she probably would never want to deal with that ever again in her life. At least that's what I would hope. That's what I would hope that little mama would want. Right? So she might go on and do better, but I do feel bad that her mother could not set a better example for her, and you still have time to do that. Okay. But I mean, you marrying him, I can't even say if that was going to be a better one. I mean, at least you would have got a ring out of the deal. So if he dropped dead on today or tomorrow, you'll be able to have the final say or whatever the case is. Who knows? Okay. But I'm willing to believe girl Melody still got that life insurance policy on his ass. Okay. But anywho, that's that. Went on a tangent. I just think that's crazy. After being on the side for as long as you have, y'all, he should have walked out of one marriage and entered another one. Now, Destiny is believing he still hung up on the marriage that he previously had, but I don't think that is necessarily him hung up on that marriage necessarily. I think he might have a fear of divorcing. I don't really see Martell ever wanting to get married again. He says that, but he also knows deep down inside that he is a man that cannot truly walk a fine line and actually be a man that's wholeheartedly committed. So he's going to keep Ariane in that position that she's in as long as she possibly can. And when she finally does take him on and marry him, I guarantee you that marriage will continue to be open. He will be allowed to explore. And in her head, she's going to be thinking, I'm not going to drop the ball and allow him to get out of my sight and me break up with him or anything like the last woman did, right? I'm not going to divorce him and lose him like the last woman did, okay? Because everything is always a game to her, and she thinks that she's going to be winning an ultimate prize after all of this. But good luck, love. Good luck. When the rest of your frontal lobe and things develop, okay? Whenever your brain is finished growing, you just might learn what you need to learn. But good luck to you, okay? So Destiny says that Lance is a good guy, but not a guy for her because Martell asked about Lance. And she's like, I'm dating right now, and dating for me is going really good. Meanwhile, we see Marceau and Tisha out there at Scott Manor. They're building. They're finally seeing some foundation and things being put up. So I'm like, good for them. And you could tell this project was going to be a long project because because y'all over there building on mountains. Like BITCH, it's gonna take a lot to knock all that stuff down and trying to finally break ground and build a foundation and do all this and that. It's gonna come a long way. Even after they get their house done, it's still gonna come a long way. They still gonna have more work to do. It's gonna be an everlasting project. They gonna have Junior, their son, graduate. Okay, MJ gonna be graduated and everything, still coming back, still having houses and stuff that needs to be built, because that's the problem. They got about 8-9 acres. Okay, so that's a lot. Now, granted, I guess each family member that wants a home will have to get their own financing and stuff like that. So obviously they were able to get their financing and get things started. So we'll see how that's going to play out. Y'all know Tisha wants her mama to come around. Marceau doesn't want her mama there, but I guarantee you there will be a mother-in-law suite for Miss Wanda. And that's just what it's gonna be. All right. They're over there talking about their kids, how they're growing, how they're advancing. Marceau is trying to portray things up, he and Tisha, as if this marriage is just this amazing thing and all is going great and we've been married for so long. But it hasn't always been happy. Okay. I do not believe that. But good job for y'all, I will say, for still wanting to fight for it, regardless of what us fans have had to say and us dragging y'all and being on y'all heads and feeling like y'all ain't been authentic or whatever like that. Y'all still try to fight to keep that marriage together or whatever. Luckily for him, he was really smart with not allowing any of his side chicks or anything to come to the front, or for him to be done with the side chicks as he enters this damn show. Who knows? But they're making it work. So, girl, shoulder shrug. That's their marriage. Them folks can do whatever they want to do and how they want to do it. So, girl, good luck to the people. Maurice sits with Marquez, and Marquez says that divorce papers haven't been signed yet because when he looked on the documentation, the documentation said that they didn't have any children together. So he didn't sign it because he's like, listen, I want rights to my kids. Like, I'm not just going to sign something if you saying that we ain't got kids together, right? So, Marquez was pretty much confirming that he and Trish are still married. Okay. Even though she tried to make it appear like back at the reunion that they both signed the papers or some silly shit she said, or that the papers were signed, whatever it was that Trisha tried to say, Marquez was kind of like debunking that at the reunion, and here he is debunking it again. So Maurice says people get lawyers and they get paid until the people are out of money. So the lawyer's gonna keep getting their checks until they out of money. And then the judge is going to make a decision. No, let's make the decision now. Okay. You can get this. I'm going to get that. You can get this. Okay. Let's make the decision. We don't need no lawyer. Let's just do this. Come on, hurry up. Anywho, so Marquez says that Trisha has made it difficult to see his daughter without him having to force himself on her. Like, I'm trying to come get my kid type of thing. So he says he goes in her home and this lady friend of hers had opinions of him based on what Trish told him. He says he talked to Ken and he understands why Trish loves him so much. And he says that she's more so like the dad. All right. He says he's really like her dad and she always wanted me to be like her dad. And what I'm hearing from that is a provider. That's what it sounds like to me. She's always wanting him to be a provider, a man of the house, which he often did not show up as, is what it sounds like to me. And then I just felt like when he says Trish loves him so much, I'm sure she loves him. I'm sure she loves him, but I don't believe that she loves him enough to marry him. And that's going to be the next storyline should they stay on this show. Once the divorce is finalized between Trish and between Marquez, when she now has the range to marry Ken, that's going to be another issue. And I do feel like she don't fully feel safe with Ken. I think she loves the fact that Ken provides for her and he does for her and all this and that. And that's the real reason she got him around. But I don't know if she fully feels safe with him, because remember when they got into it last year and all the things he did for her, he started to throw up in her damn face and embarrass her on camera. I won't want nobody like that. When you do shit for me, do it out the kindness of your house. You ain't got to keep throwing that shit up in my face when we get in. All right, I did this, I did that. Go away from me with this. Okay, so it's something about it. And we've seen where he can also turn up too. Granted, okay, Trisha, she'll know how to push a little button, but I always would expect a man to, for the most part, be in control of themselves, right? But Ken, you got some shit with you too. Okay, so I'm not a fan of none of it. Like, I please recast. Please go and find some new people in Rica. They ain't even got to be in Huntsville at this point, child. Girl, go find somebody at the edge of Tennessee and bring them on down to Huntsville, because I can't. Ken feels like he should have left the marriage a long time ago, but he stayed to prove his dad wrong. And then when he wasn't happy and wanted to leave, he couldn't because Trisha's family started to pass away, right? And with that, he said he knows that Trish feels like he left her, but he really didn't. No, you may have been there physically, but you still abandoned her emotionally. And that is what it is that she's talking about. But he's saying that's the reason that he stayed, because he didn't want to leave her alone, but you still ended up leaving her alone. So what the hell? And left her with your children. So yeah. Anywho, both of y'all are odd as fuck to me. And that's just how I feel about that. Marquez talks about how Trish doesn't want to divorce him. He said that he was the one that wanted divorce, and then he says that Trish never filed, but then says that Ken was the one that made her file. So I'm like, did she file or did she not file? So basically what he's saying is he's always wanted the divorce from her. She never wanted the divorce. And now that Ken has come around, a guy that's actually forcing her to get a divorce, that's the only reason why she's actually trying to move forward with it. Well, I can't say that he lying. I can't say that he wrong, because from the moment that he left, she literally sat there and never filed. The moment that she knew that man left her, after 3 months, 6 months, a year, living in a whole nother state with no effort to return, girl, you should have been filed at that point, but you never did. So I don't feel like Marquez is fully lying or fully wrong when he says that Trish never said she didn't want me, and Trish didn't want to get a divorce from me. So, and I could be missing some things, but, from my view, I feel like he kind of about right. Okay? So I don't know. And she could be holding on to that divorce because she don't want to marry Ken, and she's using the marriage that she has or whatever, holding that over Ken's head, like, I can't marry you because I'm still married to him, but then trying to make it seem like he's the problem and he's not signing this and he's not doing that. I don't trust nobody. So anywho, Tisha and her son, he wants to go off to college. She don't want him to go too far. He says he gonna miss his dad because he's a pillar, whereas her mom is his alignment. And I'm like, well, you can't talk about alignment, in my opinion, without talking about a pillar. So that would mean that both of your parents are a pillar for you, but for you to put your dad in a higher position than your mom, when you know your mom has been more present than your dad, is, I want to say, possibly on brand. Possibly on brand. Okay. Possibly, but okay. Little Scott Hand. Anywho, so Ken and Marquez, T and Sharon. So they feel like Marquez owes Sharon an apology, and so does she. She owe him an apology, and technically she owed T an apology too for being disrespectful. So Ken says that Marquez has points that they need to hear, right? We need to hear him out because he do be having points. Now Marquez walks in the house without knocking again. He asks Ken, where's his drink? He said, where my drink at? Can I get a drink? T calls the asshole energy. I guess that could be asshole energy when you say, where my drink at? Like, what? Hell, you walked in here, you might as well go get you a drink. But then at the same time, when somebody enters your house, then here's two things. One, when somebody enter your house, you could say, hey, you thirsty? You want some water or whatever? I know houses I've been into, I've been offered something to drink. At least a bottle of water, honey. That's one. Two, if you don't want the man walking up in your house, why the fuck is your doors not locked? Why is your doors not locked? So y'all obviously enjoy the problem. Let's lock all the locks so he has no choice but to ring the damn doorbell. But because you don't do your part and he just walks, now granted, respect should be given. Don't just walk up in somebody's house. But if you ask me, I feel like Marquez is doing exactly what it is they've allowed him to do, which is normal to him. Okay? He's doing what's normal to him. Y'all could have been locked them locks. He ain't got no key to their house. So what we doing? Like, anyway. So then Ken tells Markel it's frustrating for him when they talk about doing better and then they go backwards. And he says they need to set boundaries. Marquez says boundaries should have been set like 2-3 years ago before y'all even really got in a relationship. He said, and that's my fault for not setting those boundaries. Like, he was willing to take the fault on himself. Here go T. You right. Because, you right. It is your fault because out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. And I'm like, see, the man just took fault and then here you go. Don't like her, y'all. Can't stand her. Marquez talks about getting his daughter when he walks in. He says it's hostility and animosity. You know what I'm saying? She says you walked into my house, which you did. You did walk into her house. You did. And Ken says, and it should have been understood, you should have just, knocked on the door or whatever, like not to just walk in the house. But even when he walked in, Trish didn't say nothing. And he wasn't talking about the hostility and animosity automatically that he met from you. He was talking about from your friend. So Marquez says that his daughter was walking in with a lot of stuff in her hand. So I came in with her, period. So he says he apologizes, though. He does apologize and says T should have just handled things differently and just apologize. So when Sharon comes in, she knocks on the door. They get her, bring her in. Of course, Marquez greets her again, introduces himself, apologizes for how things went, offered her a seat and a drink in somebody else's house. Honey, I'm hollering. Okay, because they damn sure wasn't finna do it. So Marquez asked what made her deem him or demean him in front of her friend. Now, he asked her, what made you demean me in front of your friend? And then she says, well, we need to just talk about like moving forward and let's not go backwards and focus on the children. Wait, that ain't really the past. That was just yesterday. So why can't we talk about it? Huh? So it's okay for you to sit up there and talk all day long about shit that he's done in the past and things that he's done to you. But when he asks you why you demeaned him in front of your friend, now it's time to focus on the future and let's move on. But just a second ago, you wasn't trying to move on. Right? Now, when said we need to set boundaries, and then Marquez talking about, so we should have set boundaries 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, you could shut the hell up with saying that, because we ain't worried about 2 or 3 years ago because we can't go there. We're here now. Let's start setting the boundaries down. But even when he mentioned 2, 3 years ago, she's like, yeah, you're right. Because you out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. Like, y'all do this thing to each other. Like, it's not just on one person. Y'all both do this shit to each other. Okay? So then Kaz asked, how can we get past that? Ken says, he said, how can we get past that? Ken says he would like for them to stop bringing the kids into it. You need to start with Trish. Make sure you tell Trish to stop bringing the kids into it, because they both do it. Okay? And what's so funny, you want to talk about not bringing kids into it, but your ass brought kids into it when you were sitting over there talking to Maurice and Kimmy. Because when Kimmy was trying to tell you that moving forward, you just got to commit to moving forward or whatever, and you want to say, well, not to cut you off, but they know me at the school. They don't know him. The kids see me. See, you want to keep bringing the kids in when you want to get a cookie all the time. But then now, in this moment, you want to say you wish they would stop bringing the kids over. You need to make sure that you're standing in the mirror and you're saying this shit to yourself, too. So then Kid says the kids aren't traumatized, right? He says they missed him, but they aren't traumatized. And so Kez is feeling like they are traumatized based on the shit that the mama do. If the babies are traumatized, which I don't believe they are, it's because of all of y'all. It's all of y'all. And the shit Ken pulled at the end of this episode will definitely traumatize them as well. It's one thing to see their mama and daddy go at it, but then it's another man that they look at as their dad and knowing is their biological dad coming at him. So yeah, that's another thing too. So Sharon says y'all relationship dynamic is this is what she was hinting at, but she stopped. She said y'all relationship, this right here. So Sharon basically was saying this arguing, this back and forth right here is what traumatizes the kids. So she sounded like she wanted to say, don't say the kids aren't traumatized when the shit y'all doing right now is the very thing that traumatizes them. And it only gets worse, right? So Cass says he is active in his kid's life and he's trying not to go back there. You know what I'm saying? To go back to where it was. Ken says, those are your kids, but this is my family. And then he says, he plays the role or whatever. And Ken says, are you going to be at her dance? Like, I'm here. I show up. I take her to dance camp. I do this and that. Okay, how many more cookies do you want, baby? So then he says, I take her to the dance camp. I'm going to dance camp. And then Kaz says, he said, you gonna be there? He was like, didn't I give you money? Like, didn't I give you money? Like, you used to me give you money? And he was like, man, you gave me $500. Man, you don't even know how much that stuff costs. But see, this is the shit I'm talking about. Now, if the man would have gave y'all nothing, because some baby daddies be trying to give $30, okay? Or act like they ain't got nothing. The man actually gave you $500, okay? To me, I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it. But moving forward, because that's $500 that we didn't have to come up with. Even if I feel like you owe me more, listen, we appreciate that $500, okay? Next time, we're going to make sure you know well in advance so that you can give even more with that. But to like downplay, man, you gave me $500. Don't act like, well, see, first of all, don't act like that was anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't get cool points for doing what you're supposed to do. Well, first of all, and I hate that I'm even sounding like I'm taking up for Kez, because everybody in here is bullshitting, right? So first of all, the man wasn't trying to get credit. You asked him if he was going to show up because you tried to discredit him by saying you're always showing up for the daughter. So when you asked him, are you going to be there? He says, yeah, didn't I give you money? He didn't even say how much. Didn't I give you money? Yeah, obviously I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there to support my kid. Then you say, you gave me $500. That went in, but he gave you something. See, that's what's confusing to me. When he don't do nothing, y'all on his ass. When he start doing something, y'all still on his ass. What do y'all want the man to do? I guess just go get custody of your damn kids at this point and just take care of your daughter on your goddamn own. And I wouldn't even be opposed to that, considering the fact that she had to do it. She had to take care of the baby by her damn self. You get the girl and do it your damn self. But at the same time, I'm just like, everybody's so full of shit to me. So then Kez says, and you don't get no cool points because you live here, my guy. Because you ain't no husband. You just her boyfriend and she could dump at any moment. Like, you are not a permanent fixture in this family yet. So you don't get no cool points either. I'm just like, girl, y'all are just... So Ken says the only way we can go forward is holding yourself accountable and being real with yourself. I do agree with that. Kez tries to blame Trish for everything. And I said, baby, it's both of y'all. It's not just one person. And that's what all y'all need to do. Okay? Hold yourselves accountable and be real with y'all self. Because y'all like to move the goalposts a lot. So then Kez says, I'm here now. How do we set things up? Like what we got to do to move forward. Kez says there are no minor children on the paperwork. They talk about the divorce papers. There's no minor children on the paperwork. They get all this. It's now got to be all this heated argument and discussion about paperwork. Did y'all ever consider the fact that maybe the paperwork that he got, and he could be lying. Keep in mind, that's one. Yes, he could very well be lying just to have a storyline. Then the other portion could be that maybe he had a different paperwork than what y'all had, right? And then it got updated. That's why he said, yeah, go get the new paperwork or something. He said maybe it got updated because that was an error because y'all didn't leave the minor children on there originally, right? Then it also could be that Kez don't strike me as a person that understands legal documents. So he could have been misreading the shit too. But all that extra energy and Ken like, look at it. It's right here. See what I'm saying? Da 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 da. Like you're doing too fucking much. You're doing too much. Like, stop lying, man. Stop lying. Tell that to the girl sitting next to you. Because everybody in this bitch is a liar to me. Okay? And you're doing all of this for this woman who, once she's divorced from this man, probably not even going to want you after she's used you up. Good luck, Ken. Okay, so they done got into it, and Ken over there yelling, telling him to stop lying, and don't walk into my house again. You did it again, and you didn't say nothing. But now that you mad, now you want to say something. You should have checked that in the bud in the beginning. But you wait until y'all arguing, having a hollering match, and then now you want to tell him not to walk into your house, right? You should have nipped that in the bud on the front end a few moments ago. Okay. What else did I want to say? All that aggressiveness, trying to fight the man and probably start throwing hands and all of that. So unnecessary in my personal. So unnecessary. Yeah. Because if Ken goes and press charges on you, and then if he gets additional charges on you because you put hands on him while kids were in the home, be mindful. Be mindful. Okay, so he could really, in my opinion, mess Trisha's world up to where, one, that man can't be around his children, therefore likely not able to live at the residence, or he'll just begin his daughter having to do it on his own as he should. She had to do it. You see what it's like to be a single parent. However, that's all I got. Let's be very clear. I'm just trying to see all sides of the situation, and all sides is flawed as fuck, and everybody's fake as hell, and that's just my personal. I'm not gonna say fake. I take that back. Not fake as hell. Everybody's full of shit. Heavy on the full of it. But that's all I got. Catch y'all in the next one, honey. Bye, child.